The rare good news morning, with the Supreme Court striking down at least this iteration of Donald Trump's attempt to completely invalidate and remove DACA. They ruled Thursday that the Trump administration can't carry out its plan to shut down the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, which has allowed nearly 800,000 young people known as Dreamers to avoid deportation and remain in the U.S. This program has allowed young unauthorized immigrants who came to the U.S. before age 16 to obtain legal status and work authorization if they pursued education or service in the armed forces or Coast Guard and passed a background check. And the ruling was very specific, unfortunately. So it's good news, but also a little bit ominous in that they said that the government failed to give an adequate justification for ending the federal program. The administration could try again in the future to shut it down by offering a more detailed explanation. And the thing is, they were warned beforehand that you can't just invalidate it, but they were apparently so confident, so arrogant, that they decided, we're not going to bother to give an excuse. We're just going to outlaw the entire thing. And thankfully, thanks to a 5-4 decision, as close as it could be, it has at least for now been invalidated.
What's funny is that you say they were confident and arrogant. I say they're that dumb.
Well, there's definitely that too.
The rule of law, and I mean with the Supreme Court. I mean, Donald Trump tweeted today. Does anybody is starting to think that the Supreme Court doesn't like me? Which really lets you know what he thinks about our law, our Constitution, our Supreme Court, which he does every day as he insults American democracy and rule of law. But it's so interesting that he was like, they don't like me because they didn't choose me versus the immigrants, which is the code language that he always uses when he's speaking to his base. But you know what? I think that's great, and I'm happy about it. Don't get what I tell my people is, and when I say my people, I'm just talking about the people who are about progress, is do not get complacent because we just won a battle and we still have a long war ahead of us. What about those people, those children that were deported? Are they coming back? Can they come back to finish their schooling? And, and also, a big shout out to all of those DACA students who fought for themselves, because a lot of people like to take credit and come aboard and say, we did the work. They did the work.
Yeah.
They stood up and they fought for themselves. So a big shout out to all the undocumented students who really fought for what America is supposed to stand for.
Yeah. I want to read, Erica Green on Twitter tweeted a quote from a DACA recipient that was on CNN this morning, responding to it, saying, "This is not a long-term solution. Trump could choose to rescind this program tomorrow. He knows how to do it. The Supreme Court is telling him, so we are not safe. So I'm going to celebrate today, but I'm going to fight tomorrow." And I love that. Right. And I want to give a few stats on the Dreamers that I thought were pretty amazing. So first of all, immigration lawyers pointed out that as of right now, there are 27,000 DACA recipients that include dentists, pharmacists, physician assistants, home health aides, technicians, and nearly 200 medical students. So in the midst of a pandemic that we're going to continue to acknowledge, even though much of the media is pretending isn't happening, they are massively overrepresented in the heroes that we've been acknowledging.
Our essential workers.
Exactly. Exactly. And by the way, zooming out from that, over 90% have a job, nearly half are in school. And of course, as many have acknowledged, many don't speak the language or know the culture of their home countries because they have no actual memory of it. Honestly, I don't know if you wanted to find a group, just one demographic variable of who represents the best of us, the hardest working, the most serving, all of that. Dreamers might be that category, actually. Sure. And that's why it's so pernicious that the right has targeted them in particular. They hate all immigrants, but they especially seem angry that there is this group that really defies all of the narratives and stereotypes that the right has tried to apply on immigrants over the past few decades.
Right, because mediocrity always comes for excellence. And that's what it is. You're talking about a bunch of, look at Matt Gaetz, for example, who can't, talking about this imaginary family that he doesn't have and speaking on it with conviction as if he is speaking from an intelligent point of view. And you think about all of these people who, because of privilege, have these positions of power and have all these opportunities and still come up short and are mediocre. And the fact that these people it has to be pointed out that they don't know their language and they're not familiar with the cultures of their homelands. As a plus is so sad, because the extermination of the cultures of people of color is always part of, assimilating us into this country. And it is always listed as an attribute when it should be sad, because Irish people have an opportunity to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, and and Jewish people speak Yiddish, and nobody, you're not trying to take away their cultural stuff from them, and their homeland are Israel and Ireland. But when it comes to people of color, it is like they don't even speak their own the language of their homeland, like they're and that's really messed up. But
well, if I could just say, the only reason I pointed out is it would be particularly cruel to send these people back when it would be the same as sending me.
No, I know.
I don't know anyone. I don't know the language. I don't know, like, but you're 100% right. The expectations for assimilation are so weirdly tilted group by group. You're 100% right about that.
No, Eastern Europeans, they are celebrated. Oh, Hungarians and the skincare and the grandmothers and this. But when it comes to us, it's like, hey guys, we don't speak Spanish. And it's really messed up that happens. And I know that you weren't doing that from that point of view, but I was just pointing out that this is a talking point, right? And this is where you see it in so many other places. And of course, if they go back to El Salvador, not speaking Spanish, not only are they not familiar with their culture, they're also in danger.
100%. Yes. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Matt Gaetz recently, like, I don't know if you saw his interactions with some other congressman yesterday. Yeah. He's just an embarrassment. I mean, has lifelong been an embarrassment.
That was him talking about his wife and children that don't exist to a black man. And that's why I'm no longer having the All Lives Matter analogy forum for people who need to be explained, because the truth of it is that they don't want to hear it. To sit there and listen to a black man who's expressing pain for things that both Democrats, Republicans alike have admitted is real, right? And to still say all lives matter, it's not a stand of morale or a stand of principle. It is a call out to a specific group of people who don't believe that Black lives matter. And that's what it is at this point. And you got to call it what it is. It is not standing up for white lives, because white lives are not in danger on a daily basis. So we don't have to have that conversation. So for him to do that is him trying to get patted on the head from Donald Trump, which he's always trying to do, and him calling out to that specific base, because that's all they have to hang on to. Because anybody who has a soul, an intellect, or any level of decency cannot ride with that program any longer. Yeah. So that's why that's their last stand. They got to call out to the people who can't read, and the people who are out there who have no education and no information and no value or self-worth, and saying the only thing that you have going for you is that you're white. So here I am, I see you. And that's sad. Instead of working on programs to make lives better for all Americans.
100%. You are only 100% right. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.